I want to just run a scenario that happens to me.
Yeah.
Which is Sunday is my day. I go to yoga. I go to the farmer's market. I cook. Sometimes I'll sit in the backyard and read a book. And each one of it's like my day off.
Yes.
The one day like I give myself permission. But what do you do when you sit in the backyard, you're reading a book, and the ADD brain is like, check your phone. Maybe you need to go get up and clean your office. You haven't cleaned your office. It'd probably be good to do that because this week is going to be really crazy. I'm a big researcher. Oh, you said you were going to go research that. It's almost like it's the Michael Singer neurotic roommate. It's like that neurotic roommate that's like, what are you doing? If there's so many complexities to that voice inside my head, is that where I would pull out, that would be way beyond. Can you have many I don't statements? Like that's not people pleasing. That's something else that I can't quite figure out.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, you can have as many as you want. Like this is the fun of being a time genius. One of the things that you embrace when you embrace the reality and the paradigm of being a time genius is that you recognize that you're a time artist and you have this beautiful canvas, and we show you this. We walk you through this, how you have the canvas of your life and you get to paint it however you want. It's not up for me. So you can have 5 or 10 I don't statements if that brings joy to your heart and it brings awareness to what was previously unconditioned behavior or unconscious behavior, I should say.
Right.
Conditioned, beliefs. Yeah. So in terms of that question, I would actually drill you back where once we understand that becoming time genius is an inside out job and we start to root out, you got to think the roots create the fruits. What does that mean? The roots are beliefs about ourself and time, and they create the fruits, the results of our life. So once we start cleaning up some of those root beliefs around time and we're like, oh my God, it's possible for me to live in a time genius. The next step is about knowing what's important so we can ignore what's not. So Mindy, your question about Sundays is really where I would take you next. Is I would help you get so crystal clear on what is truly most important to you at this stage and season of your life. And we would get so crystal clear on what this ideal life looks like for you in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, so that when you're there on Sunday and you're relaxing and you have thoughts about what you could be doing otherwise, if you were so clear on what's most important to you, if it was a clean office, you'd be like, oh, that's going to be joyful. Let me go actually do that now because it's going to feel great. However, the phone and picking that up to check it, that's something that I would love to help you break that habit, because our phones and technology, in my estimation, my belief and my experience, are so utterly destructive to our ability to experience peace. And we need to get them out of sight and out of mind. They should not be near us because, and I'll tell you this, we'll get here hopefully in a few minutes, when you resist temptation, it is one of the most destructive things that you can do for your cognitive fuel every single day. So we'll go here. When each of us wake up, it's like we have this full tank of cognitive fuel to use throughout our day. And studies show that one of the most important traits for any human to achieve success and fulfillment and happiness in life, it has nothing to do with our IQ. It has nothing to do with our intelligence. It has nothing to do with where we were born or who we grew up with. Do you know what it has to do with? Willpower. Self-control. You want to know one of the number one things that destroys our self-control and our willpower? Decision-making and resisting temptation.
Okay, I have so many thoughts on that.
Yes, okay, I'll be quiet.
Okay, no, so, I've thought a lot about this. They don't let the president choose, for right now it's a him, I'm going to say him, her, own clothing, because they have so many big decisions to make. And I've thought about that before, of like, okay, what am I doing that is unnecessary to decide? But then, the women empowerment part of me comes out and is like, well, I can do everything. So decision fatigue is what I heard in that. It's a real thing.
It is such a real thing. And again, you can try this before you deny it. All of the things that we're going to talk about and that we teach in Time Genius, it's like, I'm not coming down here saying I'm Moses from the mountain. I'm saying, here are things that I've tested. Here's the science and the research to back it up so you can actually see for yourself. And please go try this and see how you feel in your own life. Here's the big mistake that so many people make in their lives that drains their cognitive fuel, so that at the end of the day, they're cranky, they're snapping at people, you're not kind, you can't resist whatever, like that sugary thing or the carb-filled thing that, again, might not be the best for your nutrition, might not be the best for your body, you can't do anything about it. You're going to behave in ways that are against your own interest when your cognitive fuel tank is empty or you're exhausted. So a lot of people do this. They'll wake up in the morning, and if they are not in their time genius zone, they are completely reactive. They're going to look at their phone. They're going to get overwhelmed by the DMs, by the emails. Oh my God, there's all these fires I have to put out. Then they go to, look at their fridge and like, I don't know, what should I have today? I don't even know what I should eat. I'm just going to take something sugary or sweet or whatever it is and not really fill themselves up. Then they're playing defense. They're going into their email and they're like, oh gosh, someone needs me to respond by 6 or 7 o'clock. You know what? I'm just going to try and get a bunch of these little things done so I can get some quick wins so that later in the afternoon, I can write that chapter in my book. Later in the afternoon, I can make that pitch for the new business. Later in the afternoon, I'm going to write down all the things so I can ask my boss for a raise or do the thing that's the most important. Doing the little things first, which is how most people set up their day, if they set it up at all, is the worst friggin' thing you can do.
Interesting.
You're burning through so much cognitive fuel. And a lot of people do this. Tell me if you've ever done it. Context switching, where you've got 30 tabs open and you're going between email, Slack, text, DMs, going back and forth. That cognitive fuel tank that you started out with, that nice fuel, like big full tank, is now depressing down to zero, down to zero, down to zero. By 1 or 2 p.m., you can't even think about writing a chapter. You don't even have the decision fuel. I see you.
You're like describing my life, literally.
You're amazing. And again, no, I've done this too. So this is why I started seeing my own ways. And when I started really digging into the research and the science, and I started really testing it out, and then I started to roll it out and test it with other people, Mindy, it was shocking how quickly people had 10 times more energy. I have a woman that actually, she was doing 5 hours worth of work now in 2 hours a day, because we changed just a few little things, because she understood how her brain works best. She understood the science, and she stopped making silly mistakes that were crushing her.
I want to bring 2 things that where my brain goes with this. So first, I just want to point out to the women over 40 is that when we lose acetylcholine, when we lose glutamate, when we lose BDNF, ADD becomes our natural state of our brain. Like, I am somebody who was like a workhorse. I can put in 10, 12 hours a day of work, like full on focus, no break. I could do that in my early 40s and 30s and 20s. At 54, I've really struggled with that. And the ADD brain has really kicked in.
Yes.
So you're really onto something for menopausal women. Again, I know you created this for everybody, but I just want the women that are going through perimenopause and menopause to understand that what you just said is gold. Second thing, I want to make sure I don't lose this thought, which is the phone. What are the boundaries with the phone?
So, well, let me just say this stat, because this woke me up, this shocked me, and this honestly horrified me when I heard it. Right now, the average American will spend the equivalent of 44 years of their life staring at screens. Now, of course, this does include your phone, which is where most of us spend our time, but it also includes our computer, our television, our tablets, screens. Screens. But for most of us, I'll raise my hand to this, if we're going to actually have the screens have a little bit of battle, my phone gets the most. So just think about that. And for me, 44 years of your life staring at a screen, like, that's not the purpose of your life. That's not the purpose of your human life. You are meant for so much more. So I think us just being sober and cognizant to that, again, the awareness, we can use these tools, but we don't want them to use us. Okay, let's drill back to phones. So many of us don't recognize or realize how our phones specifically are designed to create even more of an ADD brain. All of the defaults are always set for notifications on, for us getting bombarded, for us constantly getting rings and pings. Just, I think it was 2 nights ago, I had updated my phone. And Mindy, because I try my best, I am not perfect, by the way. And by the way, you do not need to be perfect to be a time genius. Again, it is a practice, and we evolve with this, and we have fun with this. And when we fall off the wagon, we go, oh, wait, I have a choice. I can go back into the time genius zone, right? So that's how we roll. But I updated my software, and then I had ordered some food, and all of a sudden there was like a gajillion notifications. I'm like, I got my notifications turned. I had to go reset everything because so one of the things that we need to do is to realize, again, going back to cognitive fuel, we don't want to resist temptation. we want to completely avoid it. We want to take it off the table because resisting it decreases our fuel. So how do we avoid it completely? One, take control of your notifications.
Yeah.
You do not, like 90% of us, we do not need, I love that it did that. This is like something that
I have no idea why it did
so
that.
I do because it's a function of when the iOS software got updated, there are certain hand signals that when you don't turn the default off, this is a perfect example of what we're
God, that was witchy.
It does things on its own. So I'll have to adjust that setting after we're done.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, as she was talking, a big thumbs up came on
my screen. I've seen this. Totally, that's all creepy, but it is. I know exactly what it is. It's a setting. But what I was going to say is that, there's studies that show, and they've done this. The research has been done. The tests have been done. They've had folks do actual cognitive tests. Some people have their phone near them, even though it's turned down, and other people have their phone in a bag in another room. Just having your phone near you where you can see it decreases your IQ. It decreases your ability to solve problems. Think about it almost like static background noise. It is pulling your attention. There is a silent temptation happening, even if consciously you don't fully recognize it. So one of the most important things that you can do to be in your time genius zone is take that friggin' phone, turn off your notifications, have them be defaulted to no. But when you are in what we call a focus block, and we can talk more about that, you move it out of the room. You eliminate any possibility that it can tempt you. And even if you do this for 45 minutes to an hour, you would be shocked at how much our ADD brains, again, because I have ADHD too, how much calmer you feel, how much more you get done in less time. You reduce and eliminate the context switching that kills our productivity and that exhausts us. The other thing I want to say, because again, I've heard people, but wait, what if I have children? What if I have an elderly parent that I'm caring for and someone's in the hospital? It's so easy to just toggle a few switches and to allow one call to get through from a particular number. There are just so many ways that you can still stay in your time genius zone, that you can reduce or eliminate distractions or interruptions altogether and still be present, still be responsible, still check in, still be absolutely appropriate to the parts of your life that need attention.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.